to have his unions to vote for Marxist socialist control. He would like to be able to then push his Department of Homeland Security over any states or state agencies that would resist him. I believe that as with any prior communist nation, they would affect a level of gun control throughout the nation, that guns would be confiscated from the American citizens. But I believe that at this point, there is question about whether or not they could actually do that. And if I might, I'll say, this is the other side of this issue of the ammunition purchases. The question may be that while they recognize they cannot keep the people from having their arms, and the Second Amendment was never about hunting. It was always about resisting tyranny. But what they have believed they were able to do is use the strength of their purchasing power to remove ammunition from the population. So if you don't, you can have a weapon, but if you can't get a sufficient number of rounds to defend yourself, then what good is it? So what they're doing is twofold.
They're drying up the supply.
They're drying up the ammunition supplies. If you go into
this is a frequency. I don't have it listed. I can't find what station it is. But they're talking about Obama trying to turn the country into a communist state, buying up all the rounds Homeland Security has, trying to keep the American people from having ammunition. They're preparing for an uprising, that kind of thing.
We have seen over and over and over again Republicans falling in line, conservatives falling in line and saying, yes, we want to have better concealed carry opportunities for people, and we want to have the background checks, but we want to make sure that everybody can have their Second Amendment, their weapons. And I would say that if we really understand that the Second Amendment was about preserving liberty and resisting tyranny, that the fact of the matter is, any gun registration is against the Second Amendment. Because once you do that, then the authorities know exactly who has who is armed, who is able to defend themselves, who is able to defend their families, and those become the targets. That's actually they become the targets of nothing else of this sniper ammunition that they're equipping the Department of Homeland Security with. Does that make sense?
Yes. Did you see the comment by the Connecticut State Police official a week or two ago in which he said, Connecticut state troopers are prepared to go door-to-door seizing guns that are now illegal in Connecticut. And when an alternative news reporter challenged him on it and said, you're saying you're going to kick down my door? The state police official said, you sound un-American.
Yes, I did read that, and it ought to send a shiver down every American's spine. This is no less than a totalitarian state government. And unfortunately, in this particular case, we see that it's being done not by the federal government, but by a state government. Now, we have a twofold fight. And I know we're limited on time, but I want to say we have a twofold fight. Number one, we have to regain control of our federal government. We need to reduce it to the scope that it was intended in our founding, very limited in nature. There will always then be states like Connecticut who would embrace the very things that we see as being so dangerous. But when you don't have a federal government that's able to enforce the mentality of those states against states that reject, say, for instance, like Texas, then there is protection there. See, Connecticut will be no threat to Texas. But Connecticut, with a militarized, tyrannical federal government, becomes as much a victim as anyone else in our system. And so when we look at the Constitution, it cries out to the limitation of the role of the federal government, and particularly domestically.
Barack Obama is a Chicago street thug. He's an agitator. He's a troublemaker. I mean, he's schooled in the Saul Alinsky communist agitation techniques. He's the type of guy that likes to get in your face. He likes to make you mad. That's just his nature. If he is permitted to continue to push the envelope and expand the power of the federal government and take away more rights and liberties of the American people, aren't we headed towards a civil war?
I believe that it's inevitable. I pray that we don't go there. I pray that we can resist, that we can regain control of our federal government. But there is a dialectic, and while Barack Obama will go away in 2016, not very far, he'll still be in Washington, that we have to be careful that any gains that we make in 2014 and 2016 are not quickly erased in another 2 years. If we don't begin the hard work as citizens across the nation, requiring our representatives to act in accordance with the intent of the Constitution, and if we don't raise up our federal government, then what they will do is they will erase any benefits that we get, they will push further, and eventually there will be a civil war. We have to understand that what you're saying is right. He's a bully, but that is the whole tactic of the left. They want to act like they are not bullies. But it doesn't matter who you are. If you tell them no, they want to not just defeat you, they want to destroy you. And that's exactly what's going on, for instance, in the Air Force Academy. They cannot allow anyone to have their own rights. And so it doesn't matter what you do. If you resist them, they will punch you in the face. That's what a bully does.
And if you show any weakness, it just strengthens them. It empowers them.
You can't even try to get along with them. You can't try to show them the respect that you might ordinarily give to an opponent, someone that you disagree with, because they're only going to see that as weakness. And Putin's dealing with that right now in the Crimea.
Well, one last question regarding Mr. Putin and Crimea. The Russians, some very high-level Russians, have openly hinted that they are prepared to take actions to crash the U.S. financial system. And they have the ability to do it. Mr. Putin does not have to use nuclear bombs to destroy America. They've got nuclear financial bombs. Last week, somebody sold off $105 billion in U.S. Treasury bonds. That was the first hint. There are other suggestions that they could do things that could expose the insolvency of the U.S. Federal Reserve and the financial banking system of the Western nations. We're looking at, the next coming weeks or months, that a crisis like this could unfold. Where this country suddenly, this country's money and financial system could be in total disarray. And now we have a reason for Homeland Security to bring out its ammo.
Yeah. Well, and we are in the midst of a crisis, and unfortunately, the real prognosis is this. We are going to be dealing with financial collapse in the near future. And
I gotta upload this, getting long.
we reflect back on
clear.
the story.